We're up to Baruch Hashem, chapter 1, verse 13. It says, Havu Achem Anashim Chachamim Unvonim. Bring for yourselves men who are wise and understanding and well-known, Ushiptechem, to your tribes, Vasimem Baroshechem, and I'll make them the head. It says the Rashi, Havu Achem is Minu Atzmechem Udavar. Prepare yourselves for this matter. Avu means prepare yourself. Anashim. Rashi says, what do you think you're going to make women judges? Actually, there is an opinion amongst Jewish law that women can be judges. That's the opinion of the Sefer HaChinuch. Oh, and Jeff, I'm so glad you're using that bowl. When you're done with it, just put it right in the dishwasher. You don't even have to wash it. Really? Just put it right in the dishwasher. Okay, on either the top or the bottom shelf. Okay, so he says, Hashem, do you think that women could be the judges? Rashi is quoting here the Sifri. Matam Omar Nashim. What does it mean, men? Tzadikim Kisufim. Righteous men who are revered, respected. Unevonim, what does it mean, understanding? It means mevinim davar mitoch davar. They can infer something from something else. Says the Rashi, ma bein chachamim unevonim. What's the difference between the term, the wise and the one who are understanding? Chacham domeh v'shochani ashir. A chacham is similar to a shochani, to a person who is a money changer. Kishemivian lo dinarin l'rot, when you bring him money to see, Roe examines. Ukishain mevian lo, when you don't bring him, yoshev v'toeh. He sits and he wonders. Navon domel shochani tagar. The navon is somebody to a entrepreneurial money changer. This is the guy who, if you don't bring him money to change, hey Barbara, if you don't bring him money, he goes out and looks for it on his own. He brings about business. So the Chachamim, we're talking about, Barbara, what the qualities you look for in a judge. So he's saying the Chachamim, the wise people, they're the ones who understand what's right in front of them. The Nivonim are the people who understand even though it's not right in front of them. They're able to look at the next level. So that's the Rashi. Then it says, Viduim with Shiftechem. We're chapter 1, verse 12. No, it's not that book. It's this book right in front of Jeff. Jeff, the other side. Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 13. Yeah, it says, what does it mean? Viduim with Shiftechem. They're known by your tribes. Shehem nikarim lachem. They're familiar. Shem belafnai, because if it comes before me, mu'taf betalito, if he comes before me wrapped in his talus, Eini yodea miu, I don't know who he is, and I don't know what tribe he's from. I don't know if he's suitable, but you know him. You raised him. Therefore, it says, Viduim l'shiftechem. Moshe Rabbeinu says, I don't know them. Each tribe has to know the judge that they're sending. They have to know who he is. They know him from the time he was born. They know what his true nature is. Chapter 1, verse 14 now. Deuteronomy. Barashechem, it means that you have to treat them with respect and fear. You have to treat the judges with respect and fear. It's a mitzvah from the Torah. Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on. I told Harold we needed him, but now I'm going to tell him we don't. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay, so we made Shashmotem Shal Yisrael Tuliyot Barashei Dayanehem. The sins of Israel hang on the heads of their judges. If the Jewish people sin, it's the fault of the judges because they should have guided them on the right path. Judges here doesn't necessarily mean judges. It can also mean like the officers of the court who enforce the law. So Moshe says, I need judges. It's not enough for me to do it by myself. Here Moshe claims the credit as though it was his idea. But in Exodus, it says the idea was Yisro's. So how come Moshe doesn't give the credit to Yisro here?
I don't have an answer for that, but the Batain talks about how in none of the Torahs that we have is it Chaser Yud. So, and I believe that in the Torah that you wrote, it's not, right? So he says that that the letter Yud represents the humility. Even when Moshe writes that he was Anav Mikol Adam, he omits the Yud, and it's only Ayin Nun Vav. So he said, you can understand this that if the people are appointed as leaders and they have the humility, then it's Rashechem. But if they don't have the humility, they're chaser the yud, they're chaser that understanding of, you're only there to serve as opposed to be elected, then there is that Shmot Israel. It's not it's literally, but rather figuratively, if you're chaser the yud, you can. So.
Thank you. Yeshikoyach. Thank you. Hey. So, good afternoon. So, you got to grab a chumash, Adam. Yes. So it says, Vata'anuti, chapter 1, verse 14 of Deuteronomy. And they answered me. You answered me, Vatomru, and you said, Tova debar asher dibarto asot. The manner which you spoke to do is correct. Rashi says, you decided the manner to your benefit without realizing you were being disrespectful. Even though Moshe suggested that he needs help, he needs assistance, you shouldn't have agreed. You should have said, you should have said, Rabbeinu Moshe, our master Moses. You should have said, we'd rather learn from you, Mimina El from you or from your student. We want to learn from you. They shouldn't have accepted. Isn't that from you better to learn? You suffered over the Torah. But, says Moshe Rabbeinu, I was aware of your thoughts. You were saying to yourselves, now many judges will be appointed over us. If he doesn't seem to be favoring us, we'll bring him a gift and hope favor us. Meaning to say the Bnei Yisrael saw an opportunity. They didn't say, wow, we have the opportunity to have the best judge ever, Moshe Rabbeinu. Instead, they said, oh yeah, it's a great idea, because this way they figured they could get weak judges in and they could bribe the system.
Okay, Jeremy.
I'm not sure the page is Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 14.
Okay.
This is an old story. People want judges who they think will give them the decisions that they want. They don't want the judges who are going to give the impartial law. That's the problem. Then we got lots of problems. Okay. So to do, he says, this is the matter which you do. Moshe Rabbeinu says, if I was delayed in appointing judges, you would have told me to do it more quickly. They were pushing Moshe to get these judges. And I took the heads of your tribes, Anashim Chachamim, men who are wise, Viduim, who are well known, Vateno Sam Rashim Alechem, I made them appointment over you. Sarei Alafim, Sarei Meot, Sarei Chamishim, Sarei Asarot, Veshotrim Ushiftechem. And I put the heads of these tribes over you, men of wisdom and knowledge, and made them your heads. Sarei Alafim, Sarei Meot, Sarei Chamishim, Sarei Asarot, and officers. What does it mean? Rashi says, I persuaded them verbally. I mashachtem bidvarim. I said, how fortunate are you? Over who are you coming to be anointed? The children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You're being appointed, meaning say, who are you going to become a judge over? You're becoming a judge over the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For the children that are called brothers and friends. For people who have a portion in the inheritance of God. So meaning to say, I persuade them about the importance of the task that they're doing. I said, you realize who you're being a judge over? A judge over Bnei Yisrael. And I appointed Chachamim. I'm sorry?
The contrast to Korach is so clear here. He also Vaikach.
Right. Exactly. And now Moshe says, if you notice the pasuk, it says now he says, I took men who are wise and knowledge. But it's missing something. Remember, what word is it missing? No. The first time it said here, in the previous pasuk, it says, I said, I'll look for Anashim Chachamim, Nivonim, V'Yuduim. And here it dropped the word Nivonim. Remember, we said Chachamim are those who are wise, and Nivonim are the ones who are entrepreneurial with their wisdom to go out. He dropped it. Rashi says, Nivonim, well, matzah. I couldn't find it. This is one of the, Yisro said to Moshe 7 traits, and Moshe only found 3 of them. Yisro told people to find God-fearing people, men of truth, people who despise money. And here Moshe says 4 additional traits, but he only found 3 of these traits. Anashim tzadikim chachamim viduim. He didn't find, he couldn't find all 7 traits. But he only found 2 out of the 3 he was looking for. Men who are wise and known. This reminds me of the concept, I'm sure you've heard it, that you can have, if somebody says they want something good, fast, and cheap. You ever hear that expression? You can get 2 out of 3. You can never get all 3. You can never get something that's good, fast, and cheap. You can pick 2. Which 2 do you want?
Cheap.
Sometimes people want cheap, but sometimes they want good and fast. You can get cheap and slow, cheap, good, and slow. Nobody has ever heard that? No, it's been said to me a lot. I say, I want this, I want it tomorrow, and I want it good, and I don't want to pay your price. And no, you can't have all that. You can have 2 of those. Okay, so Rashim Alechem, there'll be heads over you. Shenhagu b'hem kavod. You shall treat them with respect. What does it mean to treat the judges with respect? You put them first in discussion. You have them, give them honor and respect. What does it mean? An officer of 1,000. Each one. This was officers who are appointed over 1,000. A leader of 100. Each one is appointed over 100. And shotrim officers, I appointed over you for your tribes. These are the bailiffs who tie people up and strike them down. So actually, it's interesting that nobody's ever tried to set up a system of government that's set up this way. One person's in charge of 10, next person is in charge of 50, next person in charge of 100, next person in charge of 1,000. The military has that, but I'm saying as a civil society, no, I don't know that anybody's ever done it like that. It would be interesting. Also, it would be more responsibility for people. Right now, responsibility is like a congressman is responsible to like 250,000 people or something. I don't even know, probably more than that. I have no idea. I cut you off, Barbara. I'm sorry.
I was thinking, you said something about money. That the judges went to, that money was.
They're supposed to despise money.
Despise money, yeah. Well, not all money. Some money is good. I mean, if it's wrongly gotten, if it's
no, they're not
stolen, that's one thing. But if you've earned it.
That's a very good point.
it means that they're not all about the money. That's what it means. That means they're not about the money, because if the judge is about the money, then he's going to be very vulnerable to deception. Yeah, you're right. We don't hate people who have money. That's not the way of the Torah. In fact, Torah says in other areas that certain positions are required to be wealthy, like the Kohen Gadol is supposed to be wealthy. The high priest. Interestingly, today, if you want to be a judge in New York City, like those judges, they have to be independently wealthy because they're living in New York. And if you want to live in New York salary, if you want to be like a judge, like all their friends are partners in law firms, and the judges make like, I don't know, they don't make anywhere close to the salaries of the law firms. So have a lot of these judges are coming into their position already having a lot of money. Elon, we got this high protein yogurts. Why are you eating junk food?
Not junk food, though, it's calories and carbohydrates.
Okay, fair. Okay, fine. Also, we got
in the
yeah.
In the Soviet Union, they had something similar, but it was too much. There was too many people that were in charge of too many people. Like
No. The Soviet Union, Jeff Bird taught me this. Jeff said you knew the Soviet Union was falling apart when you would go into an apartment building and there'd be all the garbage at the end of the hall because nobody was in charge of it. And nobody in charge in the Soviet Union of things like that. Right, Jeff? You're the one who taught me that.
Forget if I said that, but it was the real problem. If you took the initiative on yourself, then you'd be arrested.
Right. So here, the point is, if you have people who are over 10, I mean, those people are being empowered. Like the one over 10 is empowered. It's his job to make like a block president. His job is to make sure that the garbage is picked up or whatever. But in the Soviet Union, nobody was empowered. It was all about the party. Nobody was empowered. So I don't know, Rabbi Yosef. That's what I just know about Soviet Union from what Jeff told me, because he went there like 30 times, probably more than 30 times. So he saw it, and he told me that, and I always remember that there was nobody there was no responsibility there for people. People just tried to do their job, and nobody did anything beyond it.
Keep your head low.
Keep your head low. But this is the opposite. This is empowering the people. Okay. And
you need a sense of social responsibility.
right.
In a totalitarian state.
But you had
You don't have-
empowerment that you made a difference. You don't remember where you told me that, Jeff? I'll tell you where you told me that.
Yeah.
When we walked into an apartment building in Cuba,
I was thinking.
we walked into the apartment building and you said, "Oh, this is clean." Unlike the Soviet Union where the apartment buildings are all dirty. Of course, the apartment building in Cuba, when I went in there with Jeff, the issue with the apartment building was, well, there's no elevators and every fourth step was missing a step. So, and they had no lights at night. But other than that, the apartment was clean.
That's bad.
Other than
Sad story.
and I commanded your judges at that time. We did some good trips together, Jeff and I. I commanded your judges at that time, saying,
This is one of the security establishment, and the rabbi went around a mixed with dissidents, little night. He says you were lucky to get out of there alive. Well,
or whatever. Man, you grab a chumash, come and join us. Jeff, for those who didn't hear this, Jeff was reminiscing about when he and I went to Cuba together, and his son is now in the security service. Are you using a metal spoon, Kobe?
No, I don't believe the metal spoons. I
oh,
don't think they're buying the problem.
plastic. You're on plastic.
Kobe.
Oh, he doesn't trust your dishwasher. I
We,
would take
we
that.
put it on sanitize every night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the hot stuff back.
No. Those are just bad for the environment. We're using a dishwasher. Okay, anyway, I went to Cuba with Jeff and we saw Jews there who are so happy to see us. And this is what happened. I don't know if I told you the story before, please excuse me. I'll tell you the story. If I didn't tell it to you, then indulge me. Anyway, we went to the synagogue and there was this kid there. And he must have been like 18 or 19. And he said, I want to learn about Judaism. I said, okay, come up to my hotel room after this. He said, we're not allowed in the hotel because the Cuban nationals are not allowed in the hotel. So I said, okay, tell me where you live. I'll take a taxi. He said, no, your taxis don't go there. He said, tell me where you live. So he said, my friend will meet you here tonight at midnight.
Mm.
Which sounds crazy, midnight, because in Cuba, they have no air conditioning. It was in the summer, so everybody's up at midnight. Like the streets are alive. So he met me by myself at midnight. And then I started walking through the streets of Cuba. And the one thing they told us when we came is whatever you do not proselytize, do not teach anywhere outside the synagogues. But there was a Jew who wanted to study. So I said, okay, I'll meet with you. And we walked like 45 minutes into this area. I don't know where it was. And we got to this area. By this point, it's after 12:30. And I said, and then we get there and he screams up to his friend. His friend threw down the keys. We walk up an apartment building and it's all dark and it's missing steps. And we come to this door, like the 5th floor or something. On the outside of the door, there's this giant sign hanging. You have to understand this is Cuba, like anti-religion. There's one synagogue in Cuba, a sign that says Happy Hanukkah. It was the middle of the summer. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. We open the door, we go in, and sitting at this room, the apartments in Cuba, I would say is like smaller than the small bedroom upstairs, very small. They have a kitchen, living room, and he says, I see sitting at a table a blackboard. This is like 1 a.m, a blackboard with Hebrew letters on it, and a little kid sitting at a table with his teacher. The kid has payas. He's growing his hair with payas. And they said they were part of a secret group of Christians on the island, around 2,000 of them that were trying to learn Hebrew and and convert to Judaism. And they begged me to convert them. I said, oh, no, that's how I'm going to get arrested. No, thank you. I said, just you get other rabbis come in and just go into the ocean. So then they said to me, how do we keep kosher? I said, you can't use electricity. I said, that's not a problem for us. We don't have electricity anyway half the time. And then they said, and how do we keep kosher? I said, well, no pork, no non-kosher meat. They said, well, the government gives us beans and it's our ration. If we don't eat it, then we starve. So I said, well, until you convert, it's okay. And then they asked me to tell them some laws. So I sat with them for like an hour. Then they walked me back to the apartment. This 18-year-old or 19-year-old boy walked me back. And I went up to my apartment, the hotel room. I brought him down my talus. I gave him my talus. And then I gave him a jar of peanut butter. And then I tried to give him my shoes. He said he doesn't want my shoes. My shoes were trash. And then 6 months later, that guy ended up in Israel. That guy, yeah. Yeah, he ended up in Israel. He somehow got out and went to Israel, and it was a beautiful thing. But I don't know what happened to that little boy who was studying Hebrew. By now he's like 25. He might be doing mitzvos by now.
Yeah.
He had payas and everything. It was very special. Yeah, very special. Yeah. And I didn't, you see, when you're, at the time I probably was like 30. When you're young, you're stupid. It wasn't safe what I did. Yeah, it
That
wasn't.
was at the time that they had that Jewish prison, right?
No, a few years after that, they arrested a Jew in there for doing, I don't know what he was doing, but they kept him in jail for like 10 years. And then he came, he got out eventually, but they could have done that to me. He was a little bit more dangerous because he worked for the U.S. government. He was working for, I think, USAID or something. Yeah, so
he was Jewish.
who? This guy? Well, we met him at the synagogue. We spoke at the synagogue, but I don't know if he was halachically Jewish, but he was, I don't know like the facts, but
Many of those people abroad are not a lot Jewish, but they think that they're Jewish.
Yeah.
So
he said he was halachically Jewish, but I will say this, and then we'll go back to the text here, that the only place I've been to synagogues all over the world, the only place where there was zero security was in Cuba, because it's a totalitarian state. If you attack the Jews, he would kill you everybody who's your fourth cousin. I mean, they'd all be gone in a second. And so that was the only place the synagogue was open 24 hours a day, door was. Oh my gosh, in Venezuela, the rabbi had an armed gunman at all times, sleeping outside his house. And he lived in a gated village, and the rabbi had an armed man around him at all times. Venezuela was extraordinarily dangerous, and probably still is. But Cuba, we felt safe. Which guards?
And those
The
rabbis.
guards that stood outside with the guns.
Well,
They screamed Zerbians that you find in the morning.
I mean, the guards would presumably, they had guns to protect the rabbi from being kidnapped.
and the rich people.
Yeah, but, okay.
But they don't know, they're not trained, they don't know.
I don't know, you
They're
don't
just
know.
basically, parents.
I think the rabbi had pretty good security. Okay, anyway, so it says, the next verse says, "Vatzavet shoftechem," and I commanded your judges at that time, saying, "Shamoa bein achichem, ushafatem tzedek bein ish bein achiv bein gero." And I commanded your judges at that time, saying, "Listen amongst your brothers and judge righteously between a man and his brothers and being gero." We'll see what that means. Rashi says it refers to, Rashi has two explanations. I commanded your judges, I said to them, be patient in judgment. This is what I said to the judges. If a case comes before you once, twice, or third times, don't say, this matter's already come before me many times. Don't say that. Rather, you have to be deliberate over it. Don't assume every case is the same. Don't assume that. At that time, once I appointed them, I said to them, now it's not like in the past. In the past, you're under your own authority. Now you're subject to the public. Ooh. And listen, Barbara, you should have, whenever there was a Senate commission on judges, you should have had them read this Rashi's. Listen, and Ben Gero, Rashi says two explanations. This either refers to the litigant who is collecting words to present in court. Alternatively, even over small claims, issues of dwelling, even if something is as small as the divide between an oven and a stove, the judges have to hear every case. You can't decide as a judge, oh, that case is too small for me to hear. I mean, in America, they do that, but they have different courts to hear different monetary values. Like if it's very small, you can go to small claims.
Here, what's important is that what it says is you shall not fear speaking your mind or remaining silent. You shouldn't have any personal consideration. You can't be political, right? We have that in our, and when we do confirmations of judges, it's can you rule on the law, not bringing your personal preferences.
Yeah.
But the fact is that they don't tell the truth. And they say that they can, but they don't.
What do you expect them to tell the truth?
Be careful if you're-
Some people, there are some people who are judges there are some people who are judges. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna stop the recording for this one. Some people who are judges